South Africa's petrol and diesel pumps are drying up fast. More and more petrol stations are even reporting running out of fuel every single day. And heavy users of diesel, such as farmers, are currently being rationed on their diesel usage. Many farmers have already contacted us about not being able to buy enough diesel for their own usage. All of the signs are there that we are on the brink of a major fuel shortage in this country. An economic disaster which could hit us even before the massive price increases scheduled for the beginning of April, which, as we've seen from previous such price increases, will probably never go down again. But the reality is that we can stand here and point the finger at Iran or America or Israel as much as we like. The fact of the matter is that the shortages that we are now experiencing in this country, as the pumps dry up, can only be laid at the feet of the ANC government. As I will explain in this video, the war in Iran is only the final straw, or single piece of straw actually, that broke this camel's back. All of this could have been avoided, despite the current war, if not for the ANC government. More reports are gradually emerging every day of fuel shortages becoming a crisis across South Africa. For example, earlier this week, Boere Korporatief Beperk, known as BKB Limited, a major agricultural and retail provider in this country, announced it would be introducing rations for both diesel and petrol, limiting vehicles to 80 litres of diesel per vehicle per day or 45 litres per vehicle per day of petrol. Moreover, even cargo trucks are now being limited to 80 litres of diesel per day. According to reports, a large number of petrol stations in at least 5 of the 9 provinces of South Africa have already run dry of diesel. Every day, more and more fuel stations and depots are running out of supplies. And all the signs are there that South Africa is quickly heading towards a major crisis where diesel and petrol shortages can contribute to doing massive damage to the economy, on top of majorly disrupting people's lives and even threatening their livelihoods. And the reality is that this could happen within a matter of days from today. All of this, of course, blamed on the ongoing war in the Middle East between Israel and the United States on the one hand, and Iran on the other hand. Yet, the hard reality is that this conflict on the other side of the planet would not have affected us at all if the ANC had not run this country's own oil refining infrastructure, which they inherited from the previous regime, into the ground. Here at the Willem Petzer Group, we have always advocated neutrality when it comes to international conflicts between nations that have nothing to do with us. We firmly believe that people should have the right to remain neutral and nuanced in their opinions on international conflicts and not be drawn into other people's business by their own governments. However, the current conflict in the Middle East is bound to have a major economic impact on us here in South Africa. And although the fuel prices are only expected to skyrocket in a little over a week's time, we are in fact already feeling the effects of this conflict in the refined petroleum shortages, which has the potential to become exponentially worse over the next week and a half, even before the scheduled price increases of up to 7 rands per litre for diesel for April. Now, of course, on a surface level, one could make the argument to place the blame for this on the parties involved in the current conflict in the Middle East. After all, the disruption of the global fuel supply is a direct result of a war that has disrupted cargo in the Strait of Hormuz, blocking a key route that carries about 20% of the world's oil, creating a global shortage and pushing prices up everywhere. Iran, which controls the northern side of the strait, has responded to attacks by the US and Israel by disrupting this globally imported shipping route. For example, by deploying their navy forces, laying sea mines, seizing tankers, and warning that vessels risk attack if they pass through here. In response, the US and its allies have increased their naval presence and escorts, carried out strikes in the strait, and tried to keep the passage open. But the heightened risk of attacks, insurance costs, and potential damage have led many commercial oil tanking companies to avoid this route altogether. This effectively choked off a major portion of global oil supply. While Iran has promised to keep the strait open for its allies, which we know of course explicitly includes South Africa, that promise is becoming increasingly difficult to keep in light of the warfare increasingly taking place in and around this extremely narrow strait. So, Iran can't realistically guarantee safety, even if it wants to do so. The reality is that before the conflict even started, there were on average 138 ships passing through the strait every single day. And in the 3 weeks since the start of this conflict, there has been barely 100 ships in this entire time passing through. Yet, the hard reality that we must face today is that South Africa should actually by rights be completely immune to this crisis. You see, the conflict in the Middle East shouldn't affect us at all, and it wouldn't have had it not been for the ANC. You see, while we are dependent on the Strait of Hormuz for importing the 70% of refined petroleum products that we use in South Africa today, our crude oil itself comes almost exclusively from other African countries such as Nigeria, Angola and Ghana. Routes that pass by the western side of the African continent, that do not pass anywhere near the Middle East checkpoint. By the end of apartheid, South Africa had 6 functioning oil refineries, and the country's total liquid fuel refining capacity reached roughly 700,000 barrels per day. This was made up of about 500,000 barrels of crude oil refined, plus around 200,000 barrels of synthetic coal-based fuel, a process South Africa was world-renowned for being the first to implement under the previous regime. Yet, today, the country only has 2 of those refineries left, and our only 2 remaining refineries process only a quarter of what the previous regime managed, or just under 200,000 barrels per day. This marks a decline of 71% since the 80s. This is 500,000 barrels of refined petroleum products that we produce less every day than our country did during the 80s. This means that only 30% of our petrol and diesel is now refined locally. You see, South Africa imports the majority of its crude oil from Nigeria rather than the Middle East. In fact, we import no crude oil from the Middle East. This means that the country is far less directly dependent on supply routes like the Strait of Hormuz by Iran than the mainstream media would put it to you. However, South Africa's vulnerability is not in where it sources our crude oil, but in the limited domestic refining capacity. If the current government had only maintained local refining infrastructure or expanded it by population growth and economic growth, instead of destroying 3/4 of the refining plants that the old regime built, the country could have imported sufficient crude oil from Nigeria or Angola or Ghana to meet our full fuel demand independently. In this scenario, disruptions or conflicts around the Strait of Hormuz in the Middle East would have had no practical impact on South Africa's fuel security. And of course, in this scenario, our fuel prices would have been much cheaper today, even before the conflict started, like it was decades earlier. As South Africa as a country would not have needed to rely on importing refined fuel, which is exposed to these global checkpoints like the one in Iran, and which is also much more expensive than importing crude oil and refining it ourselves, very much like the old regime could manage under worldwide sanctions in the 80s. You see, all this goes to show is that South Africa's current fuel vulnerability is the direct consequence of this ANC government's incompetence and mismanagement of what they had inherited from the previous government, which has led to the dismantling of a once functional system that could have shielded the country almost entirely from these external shock. At its peak, with roughly 700,000 barrels per day of refining and synthetic fuel capacity during the 80s, South Africa had the ability to meet its own fuel needs from crude sourced solely from Africa through routes that are completely unaffected by Middle Eastern checkpoints, as well as from our own coal under our own soil. Had that capacity not only been maintained but expanded in line with population and economic growth, the present disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz would have been little more than background noise to us today, and our petrol would have been far cheaper. There would be no rationing or no empty pumps and no looming threat to agriculture, transport or industry had the government only maintained what it inherited. Instead, what we see today is the predictable outcome of years of neglect and regulatory paralysis and ideological hostility towards industrial self-sufficiency, coupled with extreme corruption and incompetence by the fools running South Africa. South Africa under the ANC has traded the resilience for dependence, the resilience that was once able to keep this country running on fuel despite global sanctions. 500,000 barrels per day lost in refining capacity since the 1980s now threatens the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of people in this country, because a far-off Middle Eastern war suddenly turns into a domestic crisis that could have been completely avoided. The result is that ordinary South Africans are forced to bear the cost of supply insecurity and the economic strain of a crisis that was entirely preventable through only maintaining something that you inherited, that somebody else had built. You didn't even have to build any of these refining plants yourself. All you had to do, ANC government, was maintain them. One can criticize and blame the parties involved in the war all one wants, but the hard reality is that South Africa could have been completely shielded from this disruption in global oil supply if we had a competent government, or at least competent enough to not destroy the infrastructure that it had inherited. In a recent video, we highlighted how the killing of Iran's supreme leader in this current conflict has led to the ANC losing the last of its real friends or international friends. Check out that analysis by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right now. And remember to support our work by becoming a paying member of the Willem Petzer Group. Only with your investment are we able to do enough research to produce videos like these every day. Simply follow the steps on the banner underneath me. Goodbye and God bless.